Well, good afternoon, members of the Regional Council Committee. This meeting is now called to order. For those who are around the table, make sure that you turn your microphones on when speaking. For those who are participating via Zoom, state your name when making a comment or asking a question. But I think since Jerry, you're the only one on Zoom, so we'll suspend that.
All right.
Just for you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
If you would like to comment at the meeting, I understand we do not have any one to participate in any of the public speaking conversations. Is that correct?
Thank you, Chair. That is correct. We have received no public comments for any item on the agenda and no
All right.
request to speak.
All right. So committee council, I will save you minutes by not repeating that part every specific time. Let's take our roll call.
Thank you, Chair. I will go through the list of members. Please indicate if you're present when I call your name. Mayor Gallego.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor Giles.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Hartke.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Hermosillo. Mayor Osborne.
I'm present.
Thank you. Mayor Peterson. Thank you. Mayor Wires.
I'm here.
Thank you. Chair, we have quorum.
Thank you so much. And welcome Mayor Wires and Mayor Gallego online. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, item number 3 is call to the audience. We will forego that and move to
There
item.
to mute it.
I'm sorry? Oh, thought I heard a comment. Item number 4, there are no information items on today's agenda. So item number 5 is approval of the consent agenda. Items 5A through 5F are on consent. Does any member of the committee have questions or request a presentation on any of the items? Hearing none. And we have not received, as noted previously by SEPTA, any written comments related to the same. So is there a motion to approve consent agenda items 5A through 5F? So we're going to defer since, this is one of our last opportunities to make these meetings.
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay, so motion made by Mayor Peterson, second by Mayor Osborne. Those online, please keep your camera on. Otherwise, we will call you out. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Thank you, Chair, members of the Executive Committee. Everybody has voted and the motion passes.
Great, very good. That takes us to item number 6. Amendment to the MAG FY 24-25 Biennial Unified Planning Work Program and Budget to include a mid-year salary adjustment. This item is on the agenda for action and will be presented by Mr. Ed Zucker. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Hartke, members of the Executive Committee. Item 6 is a request to amend the MAG Unified Planning Work Program and budget to include a mid-year salary adjustment for staff. So just a little quick background. As you know, since 2017, MAG elected leadership has focused this agency on extending the half-cent sales tax for transportation, and we're successful. Thank you. As you know better than anyone else, that was a difficult and uncertain journey until today. We kind of forget that, but just remembering the last-minute veto by Governor Ducey in 2022, and in 2023, the extended negotiations during the longest legislative session on record that was backstopped by Governor Hobbs' veto of, frankly, destructive proposals, which ended up leveraging an acceptable solution that we all celebrated and she signed. So ultimately, we made it out of the legislature with the plan intact and to the voters where, as you know, Prop 479 appeared at the end of a historically long ballot. And this conservative approach, I think, was important during the time of extreme uncertainty. And now with 60% of the votes cast for a yes on 479, we do have certainty about the regional funding future of MAG. During the past 2 years, especially, we were cautious about long-term commitments in contracts and obligations and hiring. Wisely, but unfortunately, the caution applied to our MAG staff pay, even during a period of historically high inflation. Based on a review we did of member and peer agencies like Valley Metro, the average wage increase over the last 2 years combined for their staff was 12.4%. And at MAG, because of our conservative and appropriate approach, the increase over those same 2 years was 5%. In my April annual review, I talked to you about coming back, should there be a successful outcome on 479, for a mid-year consideration once we had that certainty. And you did give me permission to come back to you. And so here I am today. Over the last 7 years of preparation for the sales tax extension, you have seen on full display the value of MAG staff expertise, their commitment, the people who put in the work to execute your vision for a regional transportation plan, and kept the agency moving forward in all of our other areas of responsibility. I want to thank you for your support and recognition of the staff. You have repeatedly said to me and in public and everywhere how much you've appreciated that work, and I know that to be true, and so does the staff, and we thank you for that. So now here we are with a proposal for a mid-year pay adjustment for all MAG staff, with the exception of myself and interns, who interns follow a pay scale that is produced by ASU, and I have a contract with you all, so I am not part of this. This proposal is for 6.5% to be split into 3.5% for cost of living adjustment to wages and pay ranges, and 3% for performance-based pay. Because of our caution, we do have funding available for this request because of our slow and deliberate hiring and accumulating staff vacancy savings, as well as through reduced overhead costs over the past 2 years. So we do have funding available for this mid-year adjustment. Thank you again for being faithful stewards of this organization, and the MAG staff have been very patient in awaiting the certainty needed for the next 20 years. And I want to thank you for your consideration of this request to amend the UPWP and budget for the mid-year adjustment. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Zucker, my understanding is that this applies to all of the staff, but you're under separate contract for us.
That's correct.
Great.
That's why I'm outside of this. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that anyone who watches this later is
I'm not doing this for myself.
exactly.
That's right.
Any members have questions or comments? Seeing none in the room? Oh, I'm sorry.
I just got looked at by both of them, so I will say something. Yes, Ed, thank you for coming to us with your annual review this year and bringing this to our attention. I think that everything that you said is kind of what we covered in our phone call last week when you gave me a call. And the staff here has been tremendous, and it's been under some of the most difficult times and situations that we've seen. And you said historically long legislative session, historically high inflation, everything that could be thrown at us, I think for the past 3 or 4 years has been thrown at all of us. And we did finally get this across the finish line, and congratulations to all of you for that. I sent you my congratulations too. And we appreciate all the work that has been done here. And I definitely am supporting this motion today.
All right, we'll just work over there. Mayor Giles.
Thank you. I just want to echo what Mayor Peterson said and express our thanks to MAG staff for their patience and understanding the political limbo that we were in here. I view MAG staff really as an extension of city staff, and it's a resource for us that we can share. We have a commonality of need, and so we can. It's better if MAG wasn't here, we'd have to duplicate all of these functions in our own city staff. And over the last couple of years, the dramatic inflation that we've seen, we have, in order to keep good employees at our city, we have made pay increases, far greater than what we're talking about today. And so I just want to say thank you to MAG staff for your professionalism, for the amazing job you do, and for your patience in working through the last few years of this awkward limbo of needing to address your very the need we have to compensate you fairly, but not having the resources to do that. Thank you.
Mayor Osborne.
More of the same, and I can just rehash all that, but say ditto to everything that was just said before me. Really appreciate that. Just for some perspective, Ed, can you share a little bit about the increases that, as Mayor Giles has talked about, we've seen at cities, which is kind of a comparator to the employees here at MAG, and what has been the reality for MAG staff here?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Osborne. So yes, the cities have been responding to the inflationary pressures appropriately over the last 2 and 3 years. And when I took a look at the 10 largest cities plus Valley Metro in the region, from the information we could gather, the 2-year combined increase average was almost 12.5%. And at MAG, because of our stated approach, deliberate and stated up front, we were at 5%. So 6.5% brings us almost up to that regional average, to where I think is a very fair approximation.
Okay, appreciate that. And that gives maybe a little bit more perspective for residents or just folks that live in the region to understand exactly, not only because we have outstanding staff here and we want to make sure that we're keeping them up with the cost of living and they're seeing performance adjustments. But there's a market that's out there, and we want to make sure that we are competitive in that market so that we do not start to lose staff from MAG to cities or other entities that could be trying to poach folks. So again, thank you to staff and for everything that they have done. And I think that sheds some light, that perspective, and how far behind we are as an organization, shed some light on it for the public.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chair.
Any comments from our online members? All right. Hearing none, seeing no hands, I'll close with comments then. I think we're also all aware as mayors that in our communities there are industries and individuals that don't receive raises, and I know that we frequently hear about that, but we, as mentioned by Mayor Osborne, when we talk apples to apples, I need to make sure that this fine city of Buckeye does not grab any of you folks to and steal you and to be part of their 15% solution to as in terms of their build out. But we're grateful for the work and the extraordinary staff that are part and dedicated staff to this organization. So I do also support this. I know in our own cities, we want to make sure that we keep talent, and I think we have extraordinary talent here, and we do want to make sure that as they have the vision to continue to serve this greater community, that they are reimbursed accordingly, and this is a step in that direction. So with that, also realizing no hands, we have no comments or online with comments with this or people here for this. So at this point, I would entertain a motion to amend the MAG FY 24-25 biennial Unified Planning Work Program and budget to include a mid-year 3.5% COLA, cost of living adjustment, for MAG staff effective the pay period beginning December 1st, 2024, and an average 3.0% performance adjustment effective the pay period beginning January 13, 2025. Is there a motion to
I'll
this?
move to approve.
Motion by Mayor Wires. Is there a second? Second by Mayor Peterson. So again, we are going to participate in a voice vote. Make sure everyone turns on their cameras, unmutes their audios. Can I have a voice vote in the room and those online? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay.
Thank you, Chair. The motion passes.
Right. Thank you so much. Item number 7. Amendment to the MAG FY 24-25 Biennial Unified Planning Work Program and Budget for the preparation of a Clean Air Act Section of 179B demonstration of international transport of emissions and air quality uptime. These are such long sentences. I've got to take a breath before I start these. This item on the agenda is for action will be presented by Matt Poppin, Environmental Director. Matt.
Thank you, Chairman Harkey and members of the Executive Committee. Yeah, today we're bringing forth with you a request to amend our budget to add a very important contract, looking for a request for proposals from consultants to do a demonstration of the impact of international emissions on our ozone concentrations in the region. The Clean Air Act does provide this section of the law that says Section 1779B of the Clean Air Act that allows an area not to be reclassified into higher ozone concentrations if they can prove that they would have attained the ozone standard, but for impacts from international emissions. So if you remember, as we have been talking about our overall strategy, MAG's overall strategy to address the ozone issues in our region, this is one of them. That's one of our 3 big strategies, is to address international emissions. The other thing that's going to be really important about this request is we're going to have to submit a serious area plan by January 1st once EPA reclassifies us to serious. This demonstration will be a part of that serious area plan submittal because we will not be able to demonstrate attainment without excluding international emissions, no matter what types of additional control measures are adopted. We just won't be able to get there. So this will be a very important aspect of our serious area plan submittal to EPA, and that will allow us for EPA hopefully to approve that demonstration. And then again, that will set up the mechanism to keep us at serious, even if we don't attain by our attainment date of August 3rd, 2027. So we really feel like this is a very important item. We wanted you to act on it, be able to talk about it, have discussions about it, and act on it directly. We think having consultants prepare this will make it more likely for EPA to review it and approve it, as well as a third party kind of somewhat independent review of this as well. So we think that's important as well. I'll just add on the update side of this agenda item, we've put together a flyer that's hopefully at your place and will be emailed to you if you don't have it. That kind of, again, talks about our 3-pronged strategy to addressing our ozone issues. You can see the 3 big buckets that we're working with is 1, we're going to turn off those sanctions clocks that were triggered by our EPA's finding of failure to submit a moderate plan. That's our first strategy. Our second strategy is to prepare a viable serious area plan, and that's where really this item comes in. In order to prepare a viable plan, we're going to have this demonstration of international emissions. And then, of course, we've spent a lot of time talking about our continued engagement with EPA for new ozone science and regulatory relief in terms of international emissions and wildfires. So we wanted to provide this flyer for you as a reference. It's very difficult even for me to remember all of this and keep it straight in my head. So hopefully this is a good tool to help keep our MAG strategy in place as we move forward. The second page of this flyer is just some very simple, basic ozone facts, how ozone is formed, what are the standards, just kind of some very basics that can be helpful as well. So with that, I'll take any questions or comments that the committee might have.
So, Mr. Chair, we normally would have probably had this contract in the consent agenda, but because we've been talking about, the actions that this body has been taking about air quality, we wanted to pull it out so you could have that action attached to what we've been talking about, which is ozone. And so kind of following up on last month's commentary about having a strategy at the more federal level, this is one of those that's really important. We have talked to the Intermountain West partners. many of them, Salt Lake City in particular, is pursuing a 179B strategy for themselves. And so we feel in good company with taking this approach and taking this strategy. And so we just wanted to call it out more directly in this way.
Very good. Committee members, questions? Mayor Orsmore.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this. Really appreciate it. And this goes right along with that strategy that we have. Couple questions. One is, what is the timing on having the results of that report?
Yeah, so currently our request for proposal, we're going to give the consultant 7 months to complete this study. We think we'll bring it back through the committee process in February to go through consultant selection. So the report would be done sometime in September. That's kind of the latest. We'll have to have a draft serious area plan kind of needed around that time. So we think sometime around August, September, we'll have the consultant's result of the study.
But the
2025.
the key data is you've got to have something. We got to submit something on January 1, 2026. So this has to be done and into Matt and his team's work to be submitted by January 1 of 2026.
Okay. Yeah, I think the quicker we have that information, the quicker we can start talking about the submittal is one thing, but having the ability to talk about that with our legislators in person and having a study that we can actually reference, and it's not just Eric coming in and explaining, no, this isn't fair because there's stuff coming in from out of country. So the faster we can have that data and have real conversations with people that represent us, I think the better off we are. Potentially some change in leadership at the EPA. So I'm assuming that is potentially a good thing for the ozone issue specifically. This exemption, if we do get this exemption, let's say by 2026, which is sounds like what we're asking for, is this something that can flip back and forth depending on the administration?
That's a good question, Mayor and members of the committee. I would say in general, so EPA is going to approve this demonstration as part of an approval of our serious area plan. That has to go through a public process and that can be challenged legally. Whatever EPA action takes on that, whether they can approve it, they can approve part, disapprove part, or they can do a complete disapproval. So one of the things we're hoping for is that we will get more favorable interaction with the new administration on their guidance in regard to this. And hopefully they'll see some of the arguments we're making and they'll agree with those. So we're hopeful that could happen. But in general, it's really the legal process that will drive this decision making, and kind of it's almost outside of the administration's hands, right? I mean, they do have to ultimately approve the plan or not, but ultimately it's a legal action.
And Matt, once there's something is approved by EPA, have you ever seen it be unapproved by a plan submittal or a that sort of thing? I know they can change guidance,
Right.
but once we get something approved, do they have a process to unapprove it?
Generally, no.
So. Yeah.
Generally, no. If they were to approve this plan, a future administration could not go back and undo it. They would have to go through the legal system in order to do that. They would have to say the decision was arbitrary or capricious and challenge it in a court in order to overturn it.
Okay. And finally, just really appreciate you guys keeping this top of our agenda also, and continuing to talk about what our strategy is, and then very clearly laying out and actually shouting it from the top of this building. Here's exactly what we're doing right now to affect change in the way the ozone rules are hampering our ability to do some things here in the Metro Phoenix area. So appreciate that, and please keep doing that and keeping this top of mind for us. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Additional questions? So I have one. Is, again, this is a speculative question, but with this new administration, if there was a major overhaul our directional change in the EPA. Again, this is, I have no, I'm just throwing out a question. But if that would happen and the current course in terms of the processes of cities and, you know, from our perspective, this has been a bit heavy-handed without some understanding of the studies of why ozone is. But if there was a significant change in policy, I was listening carefully to your answer to him, that would potentially redirect and impact our standing, or how would that look? Again, this is not much better than sitting around a bar having a conversation here. I get that, but how would that impact us, if at all?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Mayor Hartley, members of the executive committee. Our best understanding is that these ozone issues are going to remain
Okay.
because they're largely rooted in the legal underpinning. It's the Clean Air Act. So I think an administration could choose to delay action or could choose to maybe not act as quickly. But ultimately, if they do that, they would probably get sued on that because
Okay.
these things are in the Clean Air Act. And so the requirement to bump us up to Sirius is a Clean Air Act requirement. The requirement to approve a plan or disapprove a plan is a Clean Air Act requirement. The administration really doesn't have a choice to do that or not. And so if they choose to not to, they would probably get sued on it. So I think there is a chance that a lot of this stuff might get delayed, but I don't think our issues would go away unless the Clean Air Act itself was amended in some form.
Okay, that really, I think, is the bottom line of my question. It would take the amending of the Clean Air Act to affect us in any case. Okay, thank you.
That's an action of Congress,
Congress.
Chair.
Yes.
Can I ask about, so straightforward follow-up question. I think Mayor Harkey was being very nice. I'm just going to be straightforward. What if this administration decided to get rid of the EPA and take this back to the states? We would all still have to live by the Clean Air Act, is what you're saying, Matt?
That's
Okay.
my understanding, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Unless we could get Congress to make a change to the Clean Air Act.
Correct.
So we still face the same issues no matter who's in charge.
Correct.
Yeah,
Thank
a good example, Mayor Peterson, is the sanctions, right, that we're under currently. That's a result of failure to submit a plan, right, that the Clean Air Act required. And those sanctions are listed in the Clean Air Act. These are the sanctions the administrator should apply under those situations. So a lot of those issues are still going to remain. There certainly are things the administration can do to affect policy and guidance, that's been our focus. But yeah, I think there will be discussions probably led by this administration about changing aspects of the Clean Air Act. Those things would probably start to come up, but we don't know that for sure. We certainly have our legal counsel looking into it as well and giving his input whenever he's hearing from Washington, D.C. level.
Follow-up question by Mayor Osborne.
Yeah, I think just hearing all of this talk about the EPA and Clean Air Act, and I want to make sure that the public knows that we're not trying to skirt any rules and we're not trying to make the air dirtier here. Can you, just for some perspective, maybe one more time today, I know we hit this every single time, just say it again so the public understands exactly what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Osborne. Yeah, certainly we're not trying to, our goal ultimately is to attain the 2015 ozone standard. And we're trying to do it within the confines of the Clean Air Act as it currently exists. We believe currently that, for example, EPA is not interpreting that correctly. We believe we should be able to submit a 179B demonstration that says, yes, a lot of the ozone is out of our control. It is from international sources or from outside of Arizona. And so we're just really seeking to put forward a plan that makes sense for our region, that helps us get into attainment as quickly as possible, helps you make good policy decisions. That's why we're really focused on the science, because if we can reduce the pollutants that contribute to ozone, whether it be VOCs or NOx, we want to make sure that those reductions will result in reductions of ozone. So all of our efforts have been to put together an approvable plan by EPA that makes sense for the region and helps us attain as quickly as possible but also with this realization that there are roadblocks we're facing right now that seem unreasonable from our opinion, and those hopefully can be addressed as we move forward. So we're gonna do everything reasonable that we can to attain as quickly as possible. But in order for that to happen, some of these things have to change in order for us to make forward progress on this issue.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Any additional comments online or in the room? Hearing none, is there a motion to amend the MAG FY 24-25 Biennial Unified Planning Work Program and budget to add $250,000 for the preparation of a Clean Air Act Section 179B demonstration of international transport of emissions?
Yes, so moved.
Motion by Mayor Giles, second by Mayor Peterson. Again, those participating online, please turn on your cameras, unmute your audio. Members, please leave your cameras on until after the roll call vote. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room and online? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. SEPTA?
Thank you, Chair and members of the Executive Committee. I will go down the list of members participating virtually who have not turned on camera. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Gallego? Thank you. Well, the motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next is our Executive Director's report. Mr. Zucker.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quickly, two things. One, at your place, we put a copy of an article that appeared online today, which means it'll probably be in the hard copy paper in a couple days, at the top of the electronic version about the passage of Prop 479. So that's just a good reminder to say congratulations and thank you for the work you all did in your capacity as leaders of MAG to put the plan together and as elected leaders of your communities to advocate as you saw fit. And we also do like to note that it passed by almost we think 59.8% of the vote was yes. And in 2004, it was 57.6%. So we actually got a higher percentage in 2024 than we did in 2004. So great work. Thank you. I know you guys were all out there beating the pavement, wearing out your shoes and advocating for this. So thank you for that. So I would also just say, going back to one of the earlier items, thank you for your support of MAG staff. I will tell you, as I talked to the staff, of course, they understood that you are the decision makers, but I will tell you, I never sensed from them any concern about whether you, with the right information, the right result, would be supportive of them. Everybody's concerned about things, but that's a reflection of the support you've given to the MAG staff and the recognition you have given to them. And so your comments were very, very kind and much appreciated. And the staff very much appreciates how you support them and lead as the elected body to do that. So thank you very much. That's my report.
I also want to thank all of our executive committee, those here in the regional, because I know it's not just showing up at things, but counteracting comments on social media, engaging in all possibilities that certainly helped with the momentum to pass 479. So I know we have a moment pause of congratulations kind of in this window right now, but really a lot of work to continue with what we're doing here with MAG and even the implementation. I know John and others will be presenting to us in the upcoming months and years. So thank you all. Next on our agenda is legislative update. I know we don't really have an update, is my understanding, but does anyone have any questions? All right. When is is opening day, it's going to be the second Monday, is that correct? Okay, so thank you, the 13th. Very good. Request for future agenda items. Anyone for the membership for our future agenda item? Hearing none. Comments from the committee. This is the last executive committee meeting for two of our members, Mayor Mesa John Giles, who served as chair in 2021 through 2022, Gilbert Mayor Bridget Peterson, who has served on the executive committee since 2022. I and all of us want to thank you for your dedicated service and services to the city of Mesa and the town of Gilbert, for your leadership during this very critical time of what we've been doing here regionally. And again, while we celebrate the recent passage of 479, of which you two were both instrumental for ensuring your success, your contributions have also overseen direction for MAG agency, which will affect this region and our cities for years and decades to come. And it's been an honor to serve with each and every one of you. So I thank you. Would either of you like to make comments? Mayor Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor Hartke. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to serve with all of you on this committee. I love these executive committee assignments. I love this one and the one at the league. I think we get to have conversations that we don't get to have otherwise. And thank you to all of the MAG staff. They've just been amazing. And I know I'll be back for a regional council meeting. I'm going to miss TPC this week, but I'll be back for regional council meeting. But this has really been a highlight for me as mayor. And I think one of the best things that I was part of and is hiring Ed Zucker for this position. I think that I walk away from this position very proud that we were able to make that change for MAG over the past couple of years. And thank you for your leadership. And you've just been a pleasure to work with, Ed. And of course, these gentlemen have been amazing to work with. John, I've been able to work with for 10 years. And Kevin and Eric, I got to know literally sitting next to Eric Osborne on the Valley Metro board. And then when I came back as mayor, got to join him at a new position. So thank you all. And I look forward to being a West Valley resident soon and learning about everything out there. Thanks, Mayor Hartke.
For John.
You know, as I've participated in this, I'll call it a calling over the last 10 years, I engage on a national level as much as I can. And it's always been fascinating to me to talk with mayors from other parts of the United States and for them to comment on how unusual the good relationships that we have locally here are compared to other regions in the country. Typically, other parts of the country, you do not see this amount of collaboration and the good feelings between communities. So I just want to remind ourselves that we're fortunate and that this comes because of people come in good faith with an attitude of sharing the load. And I'm excited to vote for projects on the west side because I know that, frankly, that's good for my community. And so I do it out of selfish reasons. But I think that's the prevailing attitude that I've always sensed at MAG. In the 10 years that I've been coming to these meetings, I've seen zero to little parochialism creeping in and making this difficult. So I just want to pat ourselves on the back and just make that observation and say that it's been an honor to be a part of that. I appreciate the power of this region. Phoenix is the 5th largest city in the United States. This Maricopa County is viewed at nationally as one of the premier counties in the United States, one of the premier metros. And I hope that we continue to rise to that, the occasion of that challenge as we have so well and during the time that I've participated. So I just want to say thank you. It's been fun to see MAG continue to expand its vision of the reality that there are other issues that are important along with transportation. I was thrilled to see us take on homelessness to our agenda a couple of years ago. And again, just want to say thank you for the opportunity to participate and congratulate all of my colleagues and the staff for a job well done.
And I hope that both of you as extraordinary leaders will quickly, maybe with a pause, but quickly find new ways to add value to our valley, to our state, as you have done. Mayor Giles, I have one expression of concern in that you've been my role model for states of the cities in terms of making these hilarious. And 2 nights ago, we won an Emmy for my state of the city this year, which was kind of fun. And I look forward to continuing to come to Mesa and being highly entertained and invigorated by your state of the cities. So I hope the tradition that you started, boistered, continued, whatever will continue to continue. So we're grateful for those. With that, no other comments. Thank you all. That concludes our meeting. Our next meeting of the Regional Council Executive Committee will be Monday, January 13th, 2025 at 12 p.m. No further business. The meeting is adjourned.
Thanks. It's actually.